All right, guys, what's happening? What's happening? It is finally 2022. It is January 3rd, Monday, January 3rd, 2022. It is good to be back with you guys. It's good to be back in the office here. And man, I'm looking forward to getting this year kicked off with a very, very important conversation. You know, a lot of people talk about New Year's resolutions and the progress that they want to make and all the changes that they want to make in this new year. But what I want to talk to you guys about this morning is the power of gratitude and how starting with gratitude enables us to leverage change in a way that you otherwise will not be able to make changes, right? You have to be grateful for what you have before you can actually receive more. And so that's what we're going to talk about this morning. Welcome to 2022. Let's get started. It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up. All right, guys, what's happening? Good morning and happy Monday to you. Happy 2022. I hope that all of you guys had an unbelievable holiday season, a great Christmas, a happy new year. I hope everybody is ready for a prosperous 2022. But this morning, I wanted to kick us off, I think, with an important conversation, right? We talk a lot about what we want to change in, the coming years. We're getting ready for 2022. We're always talking about what we want to change, right? What are the things that we want to impact? What do we want to make different in our lives this year versus last year? But the thing that I believe we forget far too often in this world, we live in a world where, what we have achieved is never enough, right? It never seems to be good enough for any of us, right? And so we don't always take the opportunity to start with gratitude. And so that's what I wanted to talk with you guys this morning about, just the perspective that comes along with having gratitude on a daily basis. And I'm going to talk to you guys about how I practice gratitude and how it's part of every single day that I live, every single day that I wake up, multiple times in the morning. And so I want to teach you guys kind of how to plant those seeds of gratitude to where, just how you live becomes one big gratitude session, right? And it's a constant reminder when you program yourself to recognize gratitude on a regular basis, man, everything in your life changes. And so that's what we're going to dig into this morning. But first, as always, want to say good morning to some folks. Mr. Dayton Packard, great to start the new year off with you, brother. Let's catch up soon. Ed, good morning to you. David Martin, Gary, Michael, Scott Rhodes, my brother. What's happening, man? Happy New Year to you. Alton, good morning. Dan, Keith Calloway Jr., my brother out on the West Coast, bright and early to start the new year. Trudy, Patricia, Rick, Randy, Tony Grout, John Rugg, Christina, Scott Crawford. Good morning, guys. And, man, it is so good to be here with you guys. One of the things that I had gratitude for over this break, since the last episode of 2021 to now, was literally very clear to me just how much this show means to me, just how much, starting my morning with you guys means to me, connecting with you guys, and how doing this every single morning has created just incredibly special relationships in my life, right? So you see John Rugg, Daniel Good, Chris Filippelli, we're all at my house celebrating New Year's, right? And so when you think about that, all three of those guys I met through social media, right? I believe I think all of them from this show in some way, shape, or form, or at least they got to know me better from this show. And so I encourage you guys to make those connections, to reach out and establish, something like this of your own, whether it's a Facebook group or a show or anything like that. Because what happens as a result of it, you take online, offline, and man, the blessings and the gifts of spending time with people like you guys is just amazing. And so immense gratitude to all of you for showing up here every morning, for sharing this out, for continuing to build the audience that shows up here every single morning. Late last night, I got a message from someone that was present for one of the speaking engagements that I did And it was absolutely incredible to listen to the testimony of how this man's life changed with his family. You know, the time that he's spending with his family is different from the message that I delivered at an event that I spoke at. And so it just inspires me to spread that message more and to spread messages like this one this morning. Mr. Kevin Gray, what's happening, man? Justin Myers, Rick, and there is my man, Chris Filippelli, jumped on here while I was talking about him. So I just truly appreciate you guys being here, and I truly appreciate hearing the stories of how this show and how the messages and the information and the community that's attached to this show has changed people's lives and has impacted families and children and all that kind of stuff. It's just incredible. And so incredibly grateful for all of you. So gratitude, you know, for me, guys, you know, I believe that this world is pushing us in the wrong direction when it comes to gratitude. You know, it's really, you know, an interesting dynamic in our world today where we're all so motivated, right, to get to the next level. We're all so motivated to try to do the next thing and the next thing. And we're always looking for more. We're looking to earn more. We're looking to do more. But I believe that all of that becomes far more difficult without the perspective that gratitude brings us. And so for me, probably 2 years and change ago, I started writing in a planner every single day. You know, I've always written in a planner to some degree, but I learned the power of writing down your goals every single day. And so as I started writing down my goals every morning, I started to see that change in my life, right? I started to see that what I was writing down was actually coming true. And not long after that, I figured out that there were people out there that were writing down gratitude every single morning. It was just something that I heard from someone else, that they were writing down what they were grateful for every single morning. And I thought, man, if all of this stuff is coming true that I'm writing down on my goals, like what if I integrate gratitude into what I write down every single morning? Like what if I actually think about every morning what I'm grateful for? And so for a long time in my life, I always, you know, went through the same routine, and I still do it this morning. I still did it this morning. I still do it every single morning. I wake up, my eyes open, I rotate to the side of my bed. I put my feet on the floor. I put my head in my hands, and I literally just thank God for another day. I thank God for my family. I thank God that I get to wake up next to my wife and my children. I thank God for giving me this life that I live today that was at one point the life that I prayed for. You know, it was many of the things that I live every single day right now are the things that I spent a lot of time praying for in previous years. And so that's how I start my morning. I kind of flood myself with gratitude, right? And then, you know, I go to the gym, I work out, I come to the office, and the very first thing that I do, I have this device here that I save my planner in. And so the very first thing that I do when I get to the office here is I write down my goals and I write down what I'm grateful for. And by the time that I'm done writing down what I'm grateful for, it's, you know, it's almost time to start this show, or, you know, I've got some time before this show starts, but I'm in an incredible mental space, right? And when I think about the power of what that daily routine does for me, just from a simply gratitude standpoint, you know, certainly writing down your goals is another, you know, great thing. It's amazing how when you write things down, they might seem, you know, not possible at the time, but as you write them down every day, you start to be more convinced that they are possible, and those things start to happen. Every single thing I've ever written down in this planner has actually happened. I don't stop writing it down until it does. And I can tell you that every single thing that I start writing down at the time is an incredibly aggressive, if not unreasonable goal. And so I want you guys to think about that from a gratitude standpoint. You know, many mornings, I think about some of the same things that I'm grateful for. So I write down, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the love that my wife gives me. I'm grateful for the hugs and the love that my children give me every day when I walk back in the door, whatever that is. But every single morning when I write it down, it's almost as if I'm writing it down for the first time, because I'm overcome with this emotion that comes from the life that I get to live. And I want you guys to think about that. How many things in your life do you have? This is a tough question. How many things in your life do you have? How many things have you received recently that you haven't spent time being grateful for? Think about that. Because the list of things, I would challenge you to say that the list of things that you should be grateful for in your life is incredibly long. If you actually start to think about the number of things, if you just get out a piece of paper today and try to write down 100 things in your life that you're grateful for, it won't be too difficult to find. And so I ask you that question because I think that, again, in the world today, we are driven away from gratitude, I believe, naturally, right? It's this constant drive to keep up. It's this constant drive to get better. And we all have that. I have that. I constantly want to push and evolve and learn and be able to serve the people that are around me better. But I never, ever want to start a day. I never want to start a week without that practice of gratitude. And so what has happened over that period of years of writing these things down every day, of just thinking about what I'm grateful for, whether it's my family, my parents, the sacrifices my parents made, this office space that I get to sit in, this desk that I have that I wanted for a long time so I can stand up or sit down, whatever it is that comes to my mind that day. It's a constant pattern of thinking about all the things that I have to be grateful for. And when I think about all of those things on a regular basis, what happens in the rest of my life? So after the morning routine is over, I get on to, conference calls. I meet with our team. I'm talking to clients. I'm, spending time with my family, with my kids, my wife. I have this underlying current in my life of recognizing all the gifts, recognizing all the kind gestures that people put in my life, all the messages that come my way, whatever it is, the gains that I make in my own life, the gifts that people send me. I have a massive amount of gratitude around all of those things because I've programmed my own mind to recognize them. And so I challenge you guys to think about that. What in your life have you not been grateful for over the past handful of months, over the past years? Take some time today. Write all of those things down. I think a lot of us go into a new year thinking about all the things that we want to change. But I believe with all my heart that if you first do not establish what it is that you're already grateful for, if you don't establish what it is that you've already made progress on that you're very happy about, then that progress that you're looking to make in 2022 will be far more difficult. It will be far more challenging for you to stay motivated when you can't think of the gifts that you already have, when you can't think of the kind gestures that people have already done for you that you haven't shown gratitude for. And so one of the things that I do in between Christmas and New Year's every single year is I literally make a list of the things that I am grateful for. And then I think about on that list, how many of them I haven't communicated to a person that maybe was involved in creating that. And then I spend the first few weeks of every year trying to catch up with everybody and just tell them how grateful I am for the contributions that they've made to my life that has unlocked these things that I'm so incredibly grateful for. And I promise you this, I've talked about this on this show before. If you are having a bad day, if you're exhausted, if you're tired, if you're frustrated, whatever negative emotion you want to think about, it can all be eliminated in an instant with flooding your life with gratitude, with making some phone calls to people and telling them how grateful you are for what they've brought to your life, for the contributions that they've made along your journey. And so I think about this often because of how many times I see in the world that gratitude is not practiced, that the things that we are gifted with in life, our children, our families, our opportunities, the roof over our head, the water that we get to drink, the food that we get to eat. We take that for granted. The ability to order things and have them delivered that saves so much time that you can spend with your family. I'm grateful for all of it, and you should be too. And so if you haven't spent enough time thinking about the things that you're truly grateful for, take nothing for granted in this world, guys. The opposite of gratitude is entitlement. When we become entitled to those things that we think we deserve or we think are automatic for us, we are reminded that not everybody in the world has that. Just before Christmas, several people probably on this stream contributed, but there's an organization in Uganda where many of us donated some money to buy children beds. And it was Christmas Eve morning that we got to see how those children were sleeping prior to our donations. And the beds had arrived and they got their new mattresses and their new beds. And I literally had tears running down my face at 6:00 in the morning, I think it was, on Christmas Eve, watching these children be so incredibly excited about just having a bed to sleep on. And it changed me. When you think about that, and I showed my children and I said, our family contributed to this. Our family gave these children new beds. And my son Kingston, who has the sweetest little heart, he said, "How many kids, Daddy, don't have a bed still?" And I couldn't answer him. I said, hundreds or thousands. I don't know, but a lot. He said, "How do we get them all beds?" And so I spent the last week and a half thinking about, how do we get them all beds? How do we make a bigger impact in this world? How do we make a difference? How do we stay motivated every single day? And I believe with all my heart that it starts with being grateful for what you have. Being grateful for what you have, realizing how many people don't have those things. How many people don't have the opportunity that you have. Have the people around you, the family, the friends, the people that you work with. Whatever it may be, if you're not grateful for it, you risk it going away. And so I challenge you guys today to think about all the things that you're grateful for. Start 2022 with a massive amount of gratitude. Make those phone calls, send those text messages, send a video message with your phone to somebody and just tell them how grateful you are for them. I promise you it will change their day, but more importantly, it will change yours. And when you start with gratitude, anything's possible. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for the ability to sit in front of this camera every morning and pour into people that I've never even met. I got a message last night from a guy that I spoke at an event in front of. I've really not spent much time with, but his life is impacted by the messages that this show delivers. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the gift that God gave me to be able to show up here every morning. And I'm committed to all of you that I'll be here for you no matter what. No matter what. I'll keep showing up. You guys keep showing up. And we really can, one person at a time, we can change this world. We can get all those kids beds. We can make an impact, but it all starts with our ability to see the gifts that exist in our own lives. I challenge you guys to do that today. Start this first week of 2022 off on the right foot. Start it with gratitude and watch what happens. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. I'll see you again tomorrow morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. I love you guys. It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and
figure out if that lines up.